Gracias, bienvenidos, welcome. Hoy tenemos el placer y el honor de tener con nosotros a Astrid Frank. Astrid es una representación de esas pioneras que forman parte del programa Women in Fan. She's a symbol for us, and especially for the program Women in Fan. We are very, very honored to have you in Sitges. Os recuerdo que esta tarde tendremos una presentación de sus cortos. Se han visto muy poco, de hecho en España solo se vio uno de ellos en el Festival de San Sebastián hace casi 50 años. El otro es inédito en nuestro país y en general en la mayoría de festivales de todo el mundo no tuvo la oportunidad de ser reivindicada y celebrada, que es una de las apuestas del programa Women in Fan. Os animo no solamente a escuchar las vicisitudes que pudo tener una profesional como ella a lo largo de su trayectoria, viniendo de, ya lo veréis, Heidi os explicará, como actriz, teniendo la osadía de meterse a dirigir y sobre todo a dirigir cortometrajes de cine fantástico. Por lo tanto, se me pone hasta la piel de gallina. Ahora, que escucharla de primera mano y poder tenerla entre nosotros es una oportunidad única. Toda la sesión será en inglés para que sea más fluido y si acaso tenéis el apoyo de la traductora por si queréis hacer alguna pregunta. Muchísimas gracias y os dejo con ellas. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Monica. My name is Heidi Honeycutt. I am a film journalist and a film programmer with a special interest in women directors of genre films, in particular horror movies. And I recently completed a book about the history of women directing horror movies because I found that there were a lot of gaps in the history. We know about some of the films, but we don't know about all of the films. And I really wanted to do a deep dive and try to find out everything I can. And one of the filmmakers who was a mystery to me was Astrid Frank, because the only available information about her films online were just a quick little mention. And I couldn't find the actual films, I couldn't find anywhere to view them, and I really wanted to know more because I felt like there was a story there. How often do you want to stop or do you, oh, we're not doing that. Okay, sorry. I was lucky enough, after some searching, to find her. And she graciously agreed to be interviewed for my book, and I was very honored to do that. And I was very, very lucky in that her films were still preserved and there, and she had them. And that she was able to digitize them, and I was able to watch them. And the films had not screened publicly since they first aired in theaters in the UK, correct? Yeah. And later today, we're actually screening the films again for the first time since then. I think the screening's at 17:45, yeah. So you should really come and see the films because they're absolutely beautiful. I was blown away. And I am fascinated by your story and how you made the films and what prompted you to become a director. Now, you started out as an actress, correct? So tell us a little bit more about your start as an actress and how did being on set and acting prompt you to maybe want to go to the other side of the camera?
Well, I was an actress in Germany, and I worked in Germany and in France a lot as an actress. Then when I got married, I moved to England, and I worked not at all anymore as an actress, and I got quite bored. So I decided I wanted to go to film school to learn how to make a film. Then the film school said to me, show us something that you've done. And I said, well, I haven't done anything. That's why I want to go to school. So anything, do anything, a little bit. So a little bit then became my film Red, which wasn't a little bit, as you found out. And it's a horror film. It's a nice horror film with blood. Yes, and with a woman's head being cut off. And the censor saw it and wanted to forbid the film. And I said, why? He said, well, it's not about the sex, it's about the cruelty. And I said, but that's symbolic. the woman's head is being cut off, and then the head is on again. That is what happens to us. Our heads are being cut off every day, and every morning the head is on again. And we start all over again. No, more questions?
I think I forgot that I have this on, so I think I don't need the microphone. But yeah, definitely more questions. So when we spoke originally, you said something to me that I thought was very interesting, which is you were in so many films, and at some point you actually thought to yourself, you know, I can do that, and I might be able to do it better.
Well, yeah, that's true. As an actress, well, and so many films, I saw good directors and I saw bad directors and I saw directors who didn't direct. And somehow I learned directing from acting. And when the school said to me, do something, then it was the first time that I directed. But as an actress myself, I could tell the actors how to think, how to feel, and how to say anything, how to look good. And it was not difficult. And luckily, I had a very wonderful cameraman. He was famous, Robert Kraska. He was the cameraman of The Third Man. And, well, he was older and more experienced than I am. He took me under his wing and he said to me, Astrid, you must shout. Which I didn't. My actors listened to me. And then I want to say something. A journalist, a man, he was a friend, he was. And I told him that I wanted to direct a film. And he said, you want to direct a woman? I said, yeah, why not? Well, they won't respect you. I said, but you don't respect me? He said, I did not say that. I said, yes, that's what you said. You don't respect a woman director. Anyway, he's not a friend anymore. And when I directed, I was respected. First of all, I surrounded myself with friends. Two of the leading actors were my friends. Gabrielle Drake is the woman, that woman. And Ferdy Mayne, he was a lifelong friend of mine. And he was very well known. And he did not ask any money for it. So that is what friends do.
And Ferdy Mayne, a lot of you may have seen him in Fearless Vampire Killers, right?
Yeah.
The Roman Polanski film. So he understood horror and working for a horror director. But I think maybe let's give the audience a little bit more context. Like, what year was this that you were shooting? Because when we hear someone say, oh, well, nobody respects a woman director, it's very different to hear it now than to hear it back then, right? Because things supposedly have changed.
It has changed. There are more women directors. And we don't take anything away from a man director because women make different films. Women feel differently than men. So there is a place for women and a place for men. And anyway, we can do what we want to do. And that's what I wanted to do. And if anybody says to me no, I get even stronger to do it.
And what year were you shooting Red? Was it 74, 75?
75, I think.
75, something like that.
Yes, because my baby was just one.
Yes. When we were talking about the film, and when I finally got to see the film, I was amazed at there were a few things that I didn't know to expect, which was, number one, the amazing location is just beautiful. It's actually set in, it's a period film. It's set in sort of a medieval sort of time. So the characters have, medieval costumes on, and it's a medieval setting. And there's a little bit of singing, and of course there is blood and stuff like that. But please tell us a little bit about the inspiration for the short. Why did you make the film you did, and how did you use the location to your advantage?
I lived there. I lived in Medmenham Abbey, and the house came with its own story. I don't know exactly which century it was, 15th century or so, there was a very naughty group, the Francis Dashwood Hellfire Club. And they were naughty. And they may have killed, but they definitely had sex and they abused virgins, and they were quite horrible. So all the story of that house was part of that story.
So in the film, you have an artist character. So the title Red comes from this lead character painting in red, having a red period. So how do you use the color throughout the film, and tell us a little bit about what happens in the movie. Don't give too much away because I want them to see it, but give them an idea of the poetic and artistic nature of the film.
Yes, it is reflections on the color red, and Ferdy Main plays the painter, the artist, and well. There is, for instance, the blue period that artists have had. In Germany, der blaue Reiter, the blue rider, and
Picasso had.
there is Picasso had a blue period, and so I made it a red period. And it goes very well with horror and blood.
The film has a lot of, it plays with reality. Like, you never really know what's true, what's not true, what was a dream, what wasn't a dream. Why did you choose to use that kind of dream story instead of a straightforward narrative?
Well, I think in dreams are much more like films because it's magical. In dreams you can fly over the clouds, you can dance under the sea, you can do anything which you can also do in films. So you can do more things in a dream than you can do in real life, as you can do in film. You can do more than in life. You can use your fantasy.
One thing that one might not expect from the film in 1975 is there's a lot of nudity. A little, and it's unexpected, but it's also used in a kind of a shocking way. It's not romantic, beautiful nudity. It's a little terrifying, right? So, what was it like getting your actors to do a nude scene? Did any of them have any problems? Was it difficult?
No, the only thing that Gabriela said, she did not want to feel any genitals.
I can't blame her, right?
Well, the thing is, when these actors are your friends, they have to trust you. And she did trust me. And, well, I don't want to see any genitals either.
So when you mentioned the censors looking at the film, so did they have a problem with the level of nudity as well?
No,
or just the gore?
They said, no, they liked the nudity. they just did not like the cruelty. And then after our long discussion, then he says, fine, I give you an X. That means from 18 years. I said, fine, I'm happy.
And when the film was released, it was released in theaters as a sort of like a short predecessing the feature. And one of the features it played in front of was The Omen.
The
right?
Omen, yeah.
So people would go in the theater and they'd get this little horror short first and then go into the main horror movie. And I think that's where everybody who saw the film saw it there. And as I was doing my research, there were some people who remembered seeing the film, but they couldn't quite, like they weren't sure what the title was, or maybe they were a kid when they saw it. And so people had these vague images, but they knew that they saw this film and they wanted to see it again. And I thought that was really beautiful that it had that big an impact from just those screenings in that limited run. It is a very beautiful looking film, and I really would, and I know you probably would love to know what a lot of people here think of it. So please, when you see it, you know, if you have other thoughts on it or whatever, I think that would be really cool to hear, because you'd be the first people with new thoughts on it in a long time. And I love your second film as well. So you made this film, right? Tell us what happened next. So did you take it to the film school? What happened after that?
When I made the film, I learned everything that I have to know for making a film. So I learned it from the other technicians, mainly from the cameraman, and then I didn't need the film school anymore.
So what prompted you to make another film?
I had already written the Jealous Mirror before, when I was married to Charles Frank, I'm a storyteller. And so I told him the story about this mirror. And he said, don't tell me, sit down, write it. So I did. And then another friend, Suan, she read it. She said, that's a film. And she then was the producer, Suan Tung. She has disappeared. I don't know. She has totally disappeared. Anyway, and then I shot that, The Jealous Mirror.
Now, tell everybody here a little bit about the jealous. What happened? There's a jealous mirror, right? Literally. But tell us about it. What's the relationship about with the main character in the mirror?
The mirrors have their own language, which is picturesque, of course, is mirror language. And the mirror likes his owner very much and is jealous. And she, the owner, has a boyfriend, and the jealous mirror does not like him at all. So when he is looking in the mirror, he looks awful, sweaty, dirty hair, untidy clothes. And he said, oh my God. And he touches himself and he doesn't look like the mirror image at all. He looks good. And then he starts sweating and kind of shock, and then he runs away. And she then gets very angry with the mirror and hits the mirror and, oh, why do you do this to me? And that, I won't tell you the whole story, but whenever she's looking in the mirror, do I look good? And then the mirror shows her, maybe he didn't like her hairstyle, and she puts a bird's nest on her head with birds in it. And he said, so how? And then the mirror shows her how she looks beautiful, just like I am.
Now, the actress you had starring in the film is Glynis Barber, right?
Yes.
So how did you know her?
I did not know her. I found her by an agency. But she looked exactly, I said, I want somebody like me, only prettier and younger. And so I did say to Glynis, when she was playing difficult scenes, I said, remember, you are playing me, only more beautiful, younger, and like me. Be the best you can. And she did. And we were shooting in the London Film School, which is not, their studio is not soundproof. So for the very important scene, a big lorry came passing by. And the big scene was disturbed by that noise. I said, Glynis, can you please do this again? And she did.
The mirror, when you're saying it often shows you something that's maybe just not really happening, but it wants you to see. There's also cases where the mirror is lit up with an inner light, or there's like kind of a misty thing happening. So there's a lot of this there's a little bit of special effects going on here. And you had some special effects in Red as well, particularly in the head decapitation scene. So just tell us a little bit about those two effects. How did you achieve that with the head? And then also doing the mirror with the photography and editing. How did you make that happen?
That's mainly in the editing. When you shoot different scenes and then somehow stick them together, the wrong way round or whatever. And with the decapitation, well, of course we didn't do this. We did this and then turned the film around. And Gabriella did ask me, she said, when is my head coming off? And I said, very earnestly, I said, the last day.
I like that. We need to shoot all this stuff first before you die. So, yeah. So you had these two films under your belt, and The Jealous Mirror also screened in theaters in front of, and it screened in a film festival, correct?
Yes.
So tell us what happened after that. You have these two films under your belt. They've both been distributed.
After that, well, I have written a full-length script, and it was nearly done, but it wasn't done. A producer in Berlin, a woman, I thought I want a woman producer, and I wanted to direct, but now I would like another woman to direct it, but I am there all the time. Anyway, after 2 years, the producer gave it back to me and said I changed my mind. Well, how did I feel?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them about the script, what it was about.
Oh, it is very immoral. But happy. It's a threesome. A happy threesome. The threesomes that I have seen and experienced, they were not happy. There was always one who was cheating or was cheated, but not in my threesome. It's open. It's an open threesome and very happy. And in the end, there is a happy end. They have a baby.
And that would have been a pretty, I don't want to say shocking, but unusual sexual story at the time, and probably even still. I think that would be pretty unusual now. People would be, have you ever thought of trying to get that made again since then?
There are some threesomes, and when they are open and honest, it works. When it doesn't work is when there's dishonesty and hiding and cheating.
Yeah.
That hurts. No, when it's open and from the start it's open and they agree that it's open, then that's fine. They decide that's what they want, then they're happy.
Would you ever send the script out again to try to get it made at this point?
Yes, I
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a director.
Oh. So yeah, I mean, I think that I personally think that I would encourage you to do that, to get it out there. Because the worst that happens is you don't make it, right?
That's right.
And then the best that happens is it gets made and it's a beautiful movie.
My daughter tells me that I'm decades ahead of my time. So
Yes.
it is still modern.
Absolutely.
Although it is so long ago that I've written it. But I think really threesomes, there have always been threesomes. Only it was so secretive. It was not in the newspapers or anywhere very much known, only secretly. But now it doesn't have to be secret.
I want to ask one more question, and then I think, do you guys want to ask some questions? Does the audience have input? Because this is a really good opportunity for you to ask them if you do have questions. Okay, so hold that thought. One thing I want to say is in the UK in the 1970s, there were some other women making genre films. It was mostly television directors. And they were never really given a very big budget, or they were not distributed theatrically, or they were extremely independent, completely on their own, sort of like your film. Did you ever meet or talk to any other UK women directors at the time?
No, I didn't know there were any.
So the idea of being a woman director, did you feel quite alone in that role, or did you?
I cannot say that I especially think as a woman, as a director. I was a director, whether I was a woman or a man. Even when I write a part for a man, then I'm a man. When I write for a woman, I'm a woman. When I write of a child, I am that child.
I would like to open it up to some questions. And you, ma'am?
Hello, I'm Beth. Thanks for sharing your story. We have so much in common. I was an actress too. I've just directed my first short when my baby was 1 as well, and it was a historical horror film. So we're on the same wavelength. So I just watched my film screen yesterday, and I felt kind of peaceful about the mistakes I made as a filmmaker, where before I was very stressed of thinking, oh, I just ruined it. And now I'm feeling kind of peaceful about those mistakes and thinking about how I could improve. And I was wondering, if somebody gave you a budget to remake Red or The Jealous Mirror and you're just going to make it tomorrow, like, what would you do differently? How would you develop from, if you felt there was anything that you missed when you first made it? Or would you do it exactly the same? Would you make Red and The Jealous Mirror exactly the same now, or would you change things?
When I see the films now, I see everything that's not there.
What do you think should be there that isn't? Or would you imagine?
Oh, well, some people, they they think they are directors when they are just actors, or an assistant did not want to do one scene, and so I missed that scene, and things like that. Well, I see the things which are not there.
Same, yeah, same.
But I think that's only the director himself. The other people don't know it. So, but even if I see the film again today, I will still miss the scene that is not there.
I can definitely say from experience too that I've screened films and had filmmakers crying after, and I'll say, why? What happened? Oh, the sound, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, nobody else notices what sometimes the creator considers a mistake, you know.
But for that, if I would do it again, I would be more of a dictator. I think a director must be a dictator, but a good dictator, like a mother is a good mother, or a father is a good father. So a good dictator. And I know Ferdi was full of ideas. He said, what if this and that? I said, Ferdi, in the next film.
Thank you.
I want to know what it was like living in this amazing place. First of all, how did you come to rent or live in that property? Was it you were looking for places and you happened upon
No.
the Abbey and you said, this is the place for me? Or how did that happen?
I had an affair with a rich man, well, he wanted to show his love by giving me everything that I wanted. So, and I wanted the money to make the film. And he also, so when I was pregnant, he said, find yourself a little place in the country. And that was Medmenham Abbey.
Did you look at a bunch of different properties and pick that
No,
one?
a friend of mine did that, and he found that. And I said, yeah, why not?
I'm wondering, do we have any other women aspire? Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask. Hi, my name is Itziar. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing your story. It's very inspiring, I'm sure, to all of us here. Do you still consider yourself a filmmaker? And do you still aspire to tell more stories? How did your journey grow from those short films to today?
I think I will always have stories there, but I don't feel strong enough now. I mean, physically strong enough. But I would love to have a director friend, a woman director friend who understands me, who would then direct my films. That is what I would dream of.
So you're still writing? Are you telling stories?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Now, do you have, have you been actually speaking to women directors, maybe?
No,
or?
I don't know any.
Well, I think maybe this is one of the places
Well,
we
if
can
there
start to
is
change
anybody
that.
interested,
I'm
We did bring a couple of the scripts if anybody is interested in.
and it has even a very nice title, I think. It's called Eromantica. And it is erotic. But erotic like a woman would write with taste, like artistic, not titillating.
Yeah, it's a romance, right? It's really about there's
Yeah.
sex in it, but it's a story about love and
It is about
and
love.
forgiveness. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think sex without love is not very interesting. Men can do that, but I think women don't do that. I think.
Do we have any other questions from our audience? Yes.
Hi. I would like to know more about your writing process. I mean, if you have like an idea and you just sit down and write it, or you have like first like a structure and you know how everything is going to go from the beginning to the end. I mean, how is your process? How do you come up with an idea and then put it on a script? I mean, if you can...
I don't work on an idea, it just comes. And then, but when it comes, mostly it also comes with an end, and I fill in the gaps. Yes. I think a good ending is also important, so that you can go home with a finished work.
If it's all right, I'd love to answer that question. So, hi, I'm Astrid's daughter. Hi, everyone. I'm Astrid's daughter, and I have observed how she works for many decades. And most of her wonderful ideas come to her in her sleep. So for as long as I can remember, my mother has always had a writing pad and pen by her bedside, and we used to co-sleep until I was a teenager even. And I just remember many, many nights my mom waking up and at the time when I was a teenager, I didn't really understand the process. To me, it was just, it's some strange artist's way of doing things. But all of her wonderful, wonderful ideas have come to her in her dreams. And I think it's a gift and also maybe some intuitive aspect to it. But yeah, that's what I've seen. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah,
A
for
lot of the
this,
stuff
I
comes
would like
in the
to
sleep.
say something to that with the dreams. Dreams, they don't want to stay in your daytime. So while you're still thinking, when in your half sleep, as soon as you open your eyes, make a note quickly. And that's why I can't stand talk in the morning. My husband was like that. He would never shut up. And even I had to shout at him. I said, "Shut your mouth. I have to remember my dream." And then he took the newspaper and read me the newspaper. Yeah, we got divorced.
I'm wondering, what do you notice the most has changed about film and the film industry since you were an actress and began directing? What do you see the most different now? And not the technology, but I mean the culture or what you see in films and how they're made.
I think at the time when I was younger, there were mainly action films, and especially the American films, all action, and speedy. At first they were walking, then it were horses, and then it was cars, and then it was planes, and now it's spaceships, and it's always movement, more movement. And I think we are now more brained in the film, something more interesting to think about. It's not just entertaining. If it is entertaining, there are some of the television series which are comedies. But even nowadays, there's nothing funny anymore. It's the old comedies which are funny. Well, I don't think... Do you think they are funny?
I think it's just a different generation, a different kind of humor. So yeah, my mother doesn't particularly find the sitcoms funny that I find funny, and I don't find the sitcoms that she likes funny. I think it's lovely that we live in an age, though, where we have old stuff on TV and new stuff. And I think there are some really good scripts out there for TV and film. But yeah, I'm not in the industry, so I don't really know.
Well, I am so happy that you were able to come out for this and be here, because one of the what I think film festivals like this and panels are really good for, really, at the end of the day, is connecting an audience with the creator.
Yeah.
When you watch a film on screen, when you watch your television set, you may have questions that you can never have answered. Even if it's just simple, like I wonder why they made that choice, or how they did that, or what they were thinking of. And events like this kind of bring the audience and the creator together in a way that, especially with horror and genre films, that I don't see with other genres. Like I don't see, there's not a lot of romantic comedies where you could sit down and talk to the director and ask them questions. It's mainly the darker genres where the creators are more accessible and open. So being on that end of it, I want you to know how grateful we are just to be able to enjoy your experience through you is very important, and a very big part of film history and a big part of women's film history, especially as directors. And so thank you for being here and doing that for us.
It's a pleasure. Anyway, I was surprised, and since I heard I was invited here, I'm every day and even every night excited.
Yeah, this is a lovely place to be. It's a great festival, and you guys are a great audience. And you know, does anyone have any thoughts that they want to ask Astrid before we let her go and enjoy herself?
Can I just say, if anybody would like to add her on Instagram, she's under Poetry by Astrid, and Poetry by Astrid. She's also a poet.
Oh yeah, when I don't work as a director or actor, I always do something artistic. So I write poetry, and I'm also a sculptor. Oh, I have one sculpture here.
Wow. Oh, did you make that? That's cute. That's very cute. I like that. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to be in touch, it's probably easiest to just send her a message on Instagram, and it will be me, and she'll get all the messages.
And later today, the films are, you said 17 what?
I believe it is 17:45.
17:45. Do you know which theater room? I don't have my.
It's screening before The Velvet Vampire.
Yeah. So just like before, when the films would screen in front of another horror film, we're doing that again today. And the film that is screening after your shorts is The Velvet Vampire, directed by Stephanie Rothman, who I don't know if any of you are familiar with Stephanie Rothman, but she was making films around the same time that you were, only in the United States. And Stephanie was one of the first women to work for Roger Corman as a director. Pretty much before her, there were really no women in the United States making genre films for theatrical release in what we think of as a modern feature-length film. So I think it's paired really well. It's a vampire film. It also has great visuals, and it's very artistic. And yeah, I think that you will enjoy her film, and I know she would enjoy your films as well. Yeah, yeah. So it's a
The Cinema Casino Prado.
yeah, in the Prado, which is the theater in town. I urge all of you to go see them. It is a really cool opportunity. So, and it's a great way to support women directors, because when you support women genre directors, you're raising awareness about their work, and ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what makes people want to hire women, is knowing that women make good work. So, we're all fans are part of that too. So, all right. At the Prado 17:45. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Astrid. Thank you.